Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I've got 72 RT2 Yamaha, and it's running or idling on the choke, but it will not idle with the choke off. So we've got a idle circuit problem in the carburetor, probably just from setting. It's gotten some dirt or something in there. So anyhow, that's what we're going to tackle right now. This is pretty much a common problem when you're letting bikes set, even over the winter now. It's just with the fuel that we have, it's just the way you're going to have to deal with this almost every year. Now I use a stabilizer in stable is what I use in all my fuel. But occasionally you still have to do this. I really don't like running inline filters, but I think it's getting to the point where you've got to do it. As long as you're not racing, it's probably all right. You know, your race bikes, a lot of times with an inline fuel filter, you just don't have enough volume to run your engine at high RPM, but probably a street bike or an enduro outfit like this one is probably not a problem. That's not the problem with them setting, you know, it's the fuel more than anything. But as these bikes get older and you know, some amount of water is in the tank, if you can get fuel that doesn't have alcohol, that's your best bet. And you know, that way it's not as apt to have the water in it. Alcohol is, I think the term is hydroscopic, and if I'm saying that right, it means that it attracts water. I'm probably gonna have to pull all this air cleaner's garb off. Okay, I think I got it loose where I can just shove it to one side. There we go. I'm sure it won't be that easy going back together though. Let's get it over on the bench. All right, let's get it apart here. Let's see if we can figure out what the issue is. Nice day in Montana today. It's about 72 degrees. Had a nice one yesterday too. So it's just kind of the beginning of spring, but you know, just like any other time, that only lasts so long. And it sounds like maybe tomorrow we're going to be in the 50s probably, and some rain or light snow. But nature takes its time and everything still gets accomplished, so there's no sense in worrying about what it's going to be or anything like that. Just try to take advantage of the good weather when it arrives. Yeah, I think I'm seeing a little, there's a few little pieces and chunks and stuff in there. Let me go dump this out. I think that's pretty old gas. In this case, we've got the little spring clip over the needle and seat. And just kind of want to pull that off. Easier said than done, of course. Trying to get my nails to hook on here, but having trouble. Let me get a pair of pliers. There we go. And I'm afraid probably the problem is the jet here. This one right in here. Let me get my good screwdriver. Having trouble getting there it is. You want to try to use everything to your advantage to get the best bite on that. Like I did a video on one of these being stripped out, and there it is. And I'm not seeing through there, so I think that one's plugged up. That's probably the issue. Yeah. Get some air pressure. It's a pretty small hole, but I'm still not. There it is. All right. Yeah, we had something in there. Not sure if you can see it or not, but I can see through it now. But that being the only thing, I doubt it. So we're going to go ahead and do a thorough cleaning here. And, you know, it probably hadn't been cleaned in many years. So one thing I'm going to do here, usually I set these at 1.5, but we're just going to see what this one is set at already. There's a half. Oh, this one's open to about 3/4, so that's where we'll set it back to. Well, that one's kind of tight. It's coming out. There it is. Yeah, still not all the way out. There. You gotta be careful, don't bang on it too hard. And I gotta get a 12 to take the choke out. Okay, I think we're just about, that's a good seal still. That's important to have a, you've got to be able to feel that kind of stick up. If you can't feel it, it's not going to seal. You're going to have an air leak. This one's good. Yeah, looks like a little rust here and there and there. Let me see if I can get these off without losing them. Not all these floats have those little keepers on there, but this one does. Yeah, you can see, looks like some rust or something down in here. It's probably had a little water in it. I think I'm probably going to drain the tank. I think that would be a good thing to do. Let me get this out. .14mm and just give it a whack here. All right, we're going to get this in the first I'm going to do some spraying, and then I'm going to get it into the sonic cleaner with some soap and water and finish it off. Okay, just going to use a little carburetor cleaner. Okay, so much for that one. Kind of works better without the little wand on it for what I'm wanting to do anyway. All right. Okay guys, I tell you, this is a neat little thing here, this basket. You can put all these loose parts in here and not lose them. and get everything cleaned up. I probably should take that out of there. And I'm not going to put the floats in there. I'll clean those by hand. Actually, you can. It's just soap and water, so I'll put those in there. And like I say, this thing, it's got a little lid here that you can put it in your carburetor cleaner vat, or you can put it in the sonic cleaner like I'm going to do, and you don't lose your parts. I've got my ultrasonic cleaner under here, and I've got some motor parts that I was cleaning. This is for electric motor. And put bearings in it, and that was cleaning everything up there. Yep. So I can get my little parts right there. Just hang a wire over the edge and put the float bowl and the carburetor body on in there. And I've got it at about 41 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. It's pretty hot. The heat really helps a lot. The soap, of course, does too. But then you can get your ultrasonic going, and that vibrates everything and cleans it up. Okay, we got everything cleaned up here. And see if we can get it put back together. This thing come out of there kind of difficult, so I sanded it a little bit with 400 grit sandpaper, and then I'm going to put a little oil on it just so I just hate having to hammer on that kind of stuff. Okay, remember you've got a pin down there in the groove that you're putting this in that it's going to slide into that. So try to get that pin lined up. Let's see here. There it goes. Got it started down there. The pin is lined up, but it's still a little tight. Tap on it a little. If it's doesn't go, I'm gonna. Out there it went. Okay. All right. Yeah, just remember that thing's brass. So you can see here now, that's the groove that I showed you earlier, and here's the pin that goes through. Those two line up. After you get that in, you want your thick brass washer and this jet here. And I think I'm going to try to find a new O-ring for that one. Yeah, that looks pretty flat. If you've got a little dental pick or something like that, you can use, yeah, it's pretty tough, or it's hard too. That's never going to seal. Gosh, may have to cut it off of there. There we go. Yeah, see, it just broke. It's hard. That'll never seal. That O-ring goes on here and then fits down into here, and that's to seal it off between there and the carburetor, so that you're drawing through your main jet here. That's how you get gas to the main jet. Let me go find a O-ring. Now I've got a little set here that I just picked these up from Harbor Freight, and they're pretty useful. This is the metric set, and this littlest O-ring right here is the one that works on the carburetors. A lot of this other stuff works on these carburetors also, but that one goes right here. You can order these from Yamaha or Suzuki if you're doing a Suzuki, and you know, just that O-ring is about $4, $3 and change, I think. Or you can spend about $9.95 or something on a set like this and have all the O-rings that you're ever going to need. The choice is yours. Okay, now we're just going to double check here. Yep, I can see through there, but I'm going to make sure I can. Oh yeah, yep, that's good and clear. Now, what I've done here is I had a screwdriver that I used for these pilot jets all the time, but I run onto a set of gunsmithing screwdrivers. This is Forester Products, and this smallest one in there, it's a number 1. And these are made in the United States too, but they're hollow ground, so they don't have a taper like a regular screwdriver does. These are straight the way it's ground. I doubt that you can see that, but you might. I've got a bigger one here, maybe you can see it, but hollow ground, that's what you want. And that way this thing fits in there just perfect, and that gives you every advantage that you need to be able to get these out without stripping the head of that brass off and put them back in. But remember, when you put them in, don't tighten them up too very tight. They just don't need to be. Okay, just when you get it there, just 2 fingers, just kind of snug her up. And we'll get we've got a gasket on our needle valve. And again, they don't have to be terrible tight. Make sure that your spring works on your needle, and make sure that it's not grooved here at the point. This one's good. And then we've got our little keeper. Some won't have that keeper. Most don't have the keeper. But this one does, so it's going back on. All right. Now we're going to get our float arm on. And remember that this goes like this, with this little tab that's bent up, goes right here, goes toward the top. You can usually see a witness mark. By golly, I tell you, I think that one was in wrong. Either that or I'm wrong. Let me do a double check here real quick. Okay, I've always put this with the tab here on the bottom, and this one was upside down. My belief is, and if somebody can correct me, I would love to hear the reasoning, but I believe that the reasoning is that when you drop down to the lowest here, this keeps, if you don't have the clip on the needle valve, it keeps the needle from falling out. So with this tab right here down, it's to hit there, and that would prevent that from coming out. So in this case, this distance, since it was turned around, is completely wrong. I was looking at this and thinking I was right, or at least the way that I've always done it. You can see here that I believe that this tang here goes down toward the float bowl, this way. And it was turned the other way, and I was going to tell you, just look on it to see the witness mark where the needle valve has been running, but I don't believe that's correct. If you turn this over like this, and then this falls down all the way, or it can, it won't because of the float bowl, or because of the floats here, but I'm just almost positive that it goes with the tang down to prevent that from falling out. I've sure put a lot of them together that way. Maybe I've done them wrong, but I think we need to adjust it at this point. And what my book is telling me is, let's see, this is the RT1, or RT2 rather, and see, this book is for the 250 and the 360, so it's 0.33 inch or 0.85 millimeter for the 360 RT2. And that measurement is, you're measuring from the top here of this surface where this jet goes in to the top of the float arm toward the needle. Let me show you again on the carburetor. Say we're gonna measure from this surface here down to the top here on this side, otherwise not over here, right here. So in doing so, I've got to move that quite a bit. And I think I'm going to have to pull it out to initially you're just going to move the tang here, bend down. Just move it a little at a time. Sometimes you get lucky. We're not lucky. I don't know. It's sure been in the other way, and that's going to be a lot. No, that's not going to work. It has got to go the other way. I can see why they're doing that now, I think. So let's turn it back this way, and I'm probably going to have to readjust a little. Yeah, okay. So it does. The tang goes over here, down toward the carburetor, and I think I've sure messed up a lot of them then, probably. I learn something all the time. Okay, now to check that float, and we had 8.5 millimeter. I've got that set up on my caliper here, and I just take my little T-square and I've got that measurement right here. So I've already got it set, and what we're going to do is we're going to go from the top of that casting, and it looks like it needs to come up just a little bit. Just try to keep it even. I'm not moving it, I guess. Now I'm sure I moved it too far. Okay, I think we're good. Yep. All right, so that should be good on that. Get our gasket back in here. And we've got a new O-ring on, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil on it so that it will slide into position right here. First we'll get our floats in here, and it says up on them. So these pins here are going to go down. And I'm going to try to put my little keepers back on here. You say not all carburetors have these. They may have them originally. Now they're popped. And somebody took them off and didn't bother to put them back on. Probably doesn't have to have them. Okay, we got them both back on. They're positioned properly. And looks like we've got everything in there that we need to have in there. And our float is adjusted. And I can feel the resistance from that O-ring, so I know it's seating well. And that one goes right there. Okay, got all our float bowl screws in, and we'll verify our main jet. Yep. Just put a little oil on that, keep it from scalding up. And I'm going to do the same on these. Not necessary probably, but I just feel better that way. I'm giving it every advantage that I can. That we'll have to adjust when we start it up. And on this one it was set at 3/4, so that's where I'm going to set it initially. I normally set these at 1.5, but since that one was there, that's where I'm going to start it. And we get our choke mechanism. And give that a little shot oil there. and snug that down with a 12 millimeter. And then we've got our O-ring seal. Okay, should be good. See you back at the bike. Okay, let's get this put back on. I went ahead and cleaned here with a paper towel to make sure that's dirt free there. And I'm going to pull this air cleaner boot around, so hopefully I can get this on there. Okay, I'm sure the boot is going to be the issue, but we'll try to get it bolted down first. And that way we can get a little rougher on it. Okay. And you want to tighten these down in a sequence where you're not applying too much pressure to one particular side, and just watch to make sure that it does pull up, because you've got to compress that O-ring just a little bit, and that way you can keep from breaking a tab off your carburetor by getting it cockeyed. Just a little at a time. 2 or 3 turns. Actually, I'm probably only getting about a half turn each time here. All right, we're good. I probably, let me see how easy easy is not the correct word here. See how much of a, you know what, it's going to be to get this on. Yeah, I don't know, may not be too bad. I'm kind of about making sure it works before I pull that up. So I think I'm going to take my own advice right now and make sure that I've got the fix in before I go to all the trouble to put that back on. You've got to line up that little groove there with the, there we go. And you just want to blip your throttle a little there so you can hear it coming all the way down. Alright, little new hose on here, I think. Get a clamp on. Didn't have any clamps on it before, and the hose was really hard. So we'll put some new stuff on. And I'm going to go ahead and put a inline filter in. Direction of flow is right here. We got a little arrow on it. Oops. Oh, there it is. Just about lost it. It's just a good assurance so that we don't end up doing this again very soon. That one I think can be a little smaller. I've got an assortment of clamps down here if you're wondering what I'm banging around with down here. There we go. I think that's going to be too tight. Alright, finally got that rascal on there. It was fighting me. And we'll give it a little shot of fuel here and see what it does. Make sure we don't have a leak or something. Looks like she's filling up good. It looks like it's done. I'm not seeing any issues. So, let me get this, get her down. Let's see what it does. Looks like a winner. So there you have it, guys. Just a little repair here on the RT2. Kind of a big throaty 360 Yamaha. They make bigger ones, but this one sounds pretty good, I think you'll admit. Anyhow, when you have a problem like that where it won't idle on the without the choke, it's probably going to be the pilot jet inside, where, you know, the little jet that we had to unscrew out of the carburetor there. And if you go in there like we did here and we found out that the pilot jet was plugged, don't stop there. Go ahead, clean that carburetor, replace any parts that you need to replace, and that'll save you a headache having to take the carburetor off again. And I don't know what the deal was with that little choke arm. I don't know whether I was just phasing it or what, but we've got it in there right now, and I know that I've put some others in the other way, so maybe the Suzukis are different. I will do some research on that and find out, and the next time I do a Suzuki carburetor, I'll let you know for sure. But anyhow, she's running, and what we may do here in a few days when we have good weather again, it's starting to cloud up here now, we'll take this for a ride down on the river or something like that, and give you a little more riding experience, and with that you can go along on the ride. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.